Good evening. The Moberly city manager says his city is already taking steps to prevent another situation like the one involving Mamtek.
That company's CEO pleaded guilty yesterday to fraud and theft charges after a project involving an artificial sweetener plant evaporated. KRCG 13's Garrett Bergquist traveled to Moberly to find out how the fraud has affected city finances.
He joins us now to tell us what he's learned. Garrett?
Kermit and Megan, Moberly City Manager Andrew Morris says the city itself did not lose that much money in the Mamtek debacle. Individual investors bore the brunt of the project's collapse, but he says the city has a lot of work to do to recover its credit rating. While the City of Moberly approved $39 million in bond debt for the Mamtek project, the City Council voted not to fund them after the company did not generate any revenue.
So there had to be a relationship between the revenue that the plant would make. It would generate certain revenues. Those revenues then would go towards making the P&I payments, the principal interest payments on the bonds. No project, no revenue. So council obviously voted not to appropriate.
Ultimately, the Mamtek collapse cost the city only about $1 million. Most of that went to legal expenses. The city did lose a bond involving a nearby landfill worth about $71,000. Morris says the city's budget was able to absorb the damage.
Nothing was sacrificed. We didn't dip into any proprietary funds. There were no street work that was dialed back. There were no public utilities that were dialed back. Employees were not laid off.
That does not mean Moberly has escaped unharmed. Standard & Poor's lowered the city's credit rating from an A to a B. That means the city is a bigger risk to bondholders and will have to pay a higher return on any future debt, which won't be as easy to secure. Morris says city officials are taking several steps to improve Moberly's credit rating. Those include creating a debt management policy, scheduling regular audits, and above all, requiring an independent third party to evaluate any future economic development proposals.
And they're seeking any kind of financial incentive. We have a disinterested third party that's going to investigate them and make sure that they have pre-sold contracts, that the facilities they have, in fact, are in place, and perhaps even some personal guarantees from the owners.
Morris says the city's lawyers have asked city officials if they want to be reimbursed for legal expenses once a bankruptcy court settles the obligations of former Mamtek CEO Bruce Cole. Morris told me the city would like a repayment, but the courts most likely will give priority to the bondholders.